Hello, my loves. You beautiful beings. Welcome. I had taken some introspection time prior to putting out another reading, so I apologize for the delay. However, here we are. If this message has found you, I trust there's something here for you, something to give you or add value to your life, wherever you're at this point in your journey. There's been a lot of collective energies of and I apologize, I'm going to try not to project my own experience as I interpret this, but a little bit of being dragged through the mud. Sorry, I had to tackle my little drool monster. Being dragged through the mud. And one of the things that I really recognize in the last 24 hours is sometimes that's just part of the ebb and flow, right? Is to let ourselves let shit fall apart. And or maybe not necessarily fall apart, but break all your rules for a day. I don't mean dismiss or destruct or self-destruct in any way. I mean, as an example, I have been, I went through a winter of really limited finances, really limited, or what felt like really limited, just freedom in the financial department. And now that I'm not feeling so much restriction there, a part of me just wants to go buy all the chocolate and go for dinner, and I just want to splurge a bit because I have a little bit, just not a lot, but just a little bit, enough to have a splurgy dinner, maybe, and then and I've been so resistant to that. I've been so no, we have to be really smart. We're making intelligent choices with our money. We're not just gonna go buy $50 of chocolate bars, and which isn't that hard considering a healthy chocolate bar is like $100 or $10, pardon me. But yeah, this part of me just wants to just blow $100 on things that make me feel good. And I've been so resistant to allowing that because I'm no, we have to save. And so the reason I'm sharing this is because last night I decided to just let myself. I was like, fine, you have $100. Do with it what you will and have fun, right? Let's just celebrate for a moment that we have the ability to, or are getting the ability to, or getting closer to the ability to have that freedom a little bit more. And so I might be prolonging this way more than necessary. But so the message in there is that, it's okay for us to swing. It's okay for the pendulum to swing to its opposite extreme, because that's how we find the middle ground. And that being said, within reason, of course, we're not looking to burn anything down, physically, at least. And so it feels like if there's resistance to the opposite, even though you're not supposed to, it's like skipping the gym for the week. I haven't worked out for the week. And I've been really mentally hard on myself, being you should be doing your workouts and you were getting in a good routine and it's almost spring and blah, blah, blah. But I really, once I just let myself be for a week and just have a week of rest, you could say, and not doing my walks and not going for my workouts and, the things that it's I wasn't doing it with the intention to any other intention other than just I felt like I reached capacity somewhere. And so I don't know where or why this may be important to somebody out there, or but I trust that there's something in there for you or for someone watching. And so let's get into the energy of the cards. I got some oracle cards. I got my tarot cards. As usual, Ace of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. New beginnings in the material, new beginnings in the financial, new beginnings in maybe home, moving has been a really big thing coming up in the collective energies. But I don't feel like if you're not physically moving, you may be, but if you're not physically moving, you might be moving out of an old life, I want to say, or moving into a new life, moving into a new chapter, moving into a new cycle. All these things or all these areas also represent a move, right? Moving from an old life to a new life. And that's huge in the collective right now, because we're waking up in ways that we hadn't or haven't been prior. Sorry, I have a very runny nose, and maybe there's a message in there for somebody. Like if you have runny nose or like a little bit of a sore throat or headaches, if you're experiencing any of these symptoms these days, right, that's your third eye. And so if you're experiencing a runny nose, like I know quite a few people that are just like out of randomness, just running. And funny that we're going through this like collective awakening, and that is connected to the third eye, right? And so if we are waking up in a way, and what that means, it doesn't mean that we're all getting woke. It just means we're coming online a little bit more than we had previously. Like there are things that are making themselves to be more clear, more presence, more ease, more love, more just things you're becoming aware of more things than you had in the past. Which is funny because looking at this card, like she's looking right at the flame. She's got all these things going around her, right? The moon phases, there's all these things happening around her, but she's got her eye on the presence of that flame. And so I feel like that's symbolic in itself, is that there is this new light shining within, or bringing a sense of awareness to things, a mental awareness to things that we hadn't, and it's almost connected to emotionally. It's emotionally connected, right? The mental awareness or the mental presence is what is allowing space in between conflict, in between inner conflict, in between maybe some things that are causing conflict in your life or within your inner world, your inner experiences. The Nine of Cups, obviously she's a really happy camper. She is bathing in the glory of the golden cups, right? This could be money. Obviously she's got a treasure chest full of gold, and she's happy. So there's a lot of things starting that are leading us to like really happy, I want to say happy endings. Happy ending for everybody. I don't know why I did that. Yeah, like just whatever that is. That doesn't mean like everybody's going to be a millionaire, but it means that whatever this path, whatever we're going through right now, that's challenging us in ways that maybe is a little bit uncomfortable and doesn't feel good. Feels like frustrating. Who's getting upset over there for some reason? Yes, you need to go outside. Right, we're all experiencing some level of discomfort internally, and maybe take this how it resonates. If you're not, that's great, fantastic, good for you. But there is like a really subtle and not so subtle discomfort happening within the collective that's making us move through processes and recalibrate, get new perspectives, right? The hangman or hangwoman is all about getting new perspectives, life putting us in a place to see things differently. And so that is I feel like the essence of what's going on is life is putting us in positions so that we can see things from a different point of view, from a different perspective, from a different angle. so that we can then make decisions, not just based on one perspective or one point of view, but multiple. Yeah, this card is funny too because I always read it not how it's meant to be read. So this could be balancing. I feel like it's always a balancing of head and heart when I see this card. And like busyness, there's a busyness in there. She's got her hands full. And yeah, it's like a balance between the light and dark too, I'm sensing. It also looks like she's in a desert landscape, so it's dry, but she's still, or there's not much around her, but she's still tackling a lot. So that's interesting. It's all about like the inner world. I feel like this all relates to the inner world. Like there's a lot going on internally for everyone right now. Or maybe not a lot going on internally, and that's the allotness. It's just like the presence of presence. And so I don't know if that's what you're experiencing, but I know quite a few of us are having these little epiphany moments, or at least some of whom I've talked to in the last little bit, are sensing things beyond or in mundane areas. So like if you're going out for coffee and you like suddenly are smelling and sensing and feeling things on a deeper level, or like it just feels like your senses are waking up for the first time, or things are catching your attention that wouldn't have necessarily caught your attention before because you were so busy, and now that like this busyness is coming to like a stillness. That's so funny. So the 10 of Pentacles, which is obviously the celebration card, wealth, abundance, health, happiness, family, union, all these good things, is coming from this new beginning. There's the Ace of Pentacles. Once again, that was the card we started with on the bottom of the deck. And so it's really like beginning new cycles. We have two aces out and a 10, which is completion. There's the King and Queen of Swords. Yeah, it's like life is teaching us how to detach in ways that we didn't know how to prior. We are learning how to, see things from a totally new perspective of just zooming out and evaluating things in a different way, or not evaluating things, right? Or not analyzing as much. We're kind of just learning how to let things be, let things unfold. And if not, we're being presented with the challenges that are going to slow us down, so we can learn that. So we can learn how to take a beat, I'm hearing, and really just evaluate without over-analysis, if that makes sense. There's the Devil presenting himself. So, right? It's like getting us out of this devil energy. Sorry, I'm tired today. We're tired, but we're surrendered in the tired. So it's like, I'm going to do a reading anyways and just be sleepy with you guys. But we're coming out of these energies. Oh, and then there's the wheel on the bottom. Right? So there's these closing of the cycles, recalibration, the balancing between the light and the dark, masculine and the feminine. If you've been experiencing any of these just like weird shifts in energy, or maybe you've been carrying out an energy that's no longer serving you, and so every time you try and get into the rhythm of your old energy, which could be like a pattern of like rushing through your day, and now all of a sudden that's not working for you. It's actually making you more sick than it is helping you, and so you're learning how to slow down and move through your day in a very different way. And those days add up into months and years, and so we're really in a prophetic time of learning how to live life in a much different way than we have previously. And the funny thing that I feel relates to that, forgive me if you're not a fan, I wasn't a fan prior, but I watched the movie Barbie last night. It's on Netflix. And it was exactly that. If you look at, I tend to watch movies on a pretty symbolic level. But that's what it was, is she was from like the material and the plastic world, right? And then she goes to the real world where it's not all perfect and it's not all, and so she recognizes that there is good and bad, or not good and bad, but there is highs and lows. There are things that, right? There's people crying in the real world, and everything isn't just perfect, and there's feelings, and there's a spectrum of emotion and a spectrum of life experiences. Everything's not the same, and everything's not perfect all the time, how she experiences it in her world. Anyways, watch it if it resonates. But that's basically what I found, is like these recalibrations of the energies, because they even go through how like our world is very masculinely driven, and then her world was really feminine driven, and so the too much of either side isn't good for anybody. There needs to be this balance. There needs to be it's really beautiful when you look at like the deeper symbolism that lays within it. And so that really showed me like the greater collective is that we really have to swing. We have to, and that's how I started this video. Woo! Coming full circle. We have to swing to the opposing side, because that's how we find, and we know for sure where that feel good place is, or where we feel most in alignment, where we feel most balanced, where we feel whatever that is to you, most grounded, more most in line with our path. It's not at either extreme, but to experience both extremes, we are given clarity that we wouldn't have otherwise. And so that's why the extremes and going to the extremes can be necessary at times. Like this one, I'm going to leave it there for you guys. Oh, I will pull an oracle card though, real quick, and then read the description from the book. And just let this sum up what this reading has brought us. This is a little bit of a longer one today, but I hope in some way, shape, or form this was able to help you in your journey wherever you're at. I'm sending so much love. Will-o'-the-wisp. Treasures hidden in the shadows. Boom. Look at that. Treasures hidden in the shadows. So that right there is saying like it's okay to dip into our shadows sometimes. It's okay to dip into the darkness a little bit, or things that we wouldn't normally, because that is what's going to allow us to have the clarity. And I mean, use your intuition, use your discernment when doing this, when dancing between, worlds, you could say, because that discernment, that intuition is what will never steer us wrong. Will-o'-the-wisp, treasures hidden in the shadows, the great mystery epiphany. Will-o'-the-wisp hovers in her luminescent glory above the twilight moors of your life, whispering for you to step into the fog, into the mystery, the unknown. You may have been visited by her before, but though intrigued, you refused her invitation. It would be safer you decided to remain on the journey while you always have a choice as to whether to follow her or not. You never know when you might encounter her again. In this sense, turning away has its own consequences. Why is the known so appealing? It's only when you wake up to its restrictions, its soft prison or golden cage, that you realize there must be more. Will-o'-the-wisp has come to you once again to offer you magic, but you will have to sacrifice certainty in the pursuit of adventure. Your comfort zone for the dangers of discovery, your well-trodden path for the detours that may very well lead you astray, or will they? Can you accept that losing yourself will bring you closer to your true self? The profound shift of an epiphany can occur only when you risk the detour and enter the unknown. Now is the time to trust higher forces to lead you into this place, these worlds hidden at the threshold between what was and what can be. Here is where you will listen about your own unmaking, to unmask yourself. Love what you discover, dark or light. See it all as divine, and find a quiet, thrumming power waiting for you to channel it into the world for good. The treasure you find, filled with the wealth of love and kindness, true prosperity, is ripe to share with others. She is here for you now. Will you accept her invitation? A great bounty of goodness awaits you. So that right there is like, it's okay. It's okay to dip into the shadow. Because there are treasures hidden in the shadows. And so it's best not to resist them. I love you all. I hope this helped. Till next time. Bye.